Let's talk about Derby weekend then. In the URC, gets underway tonight, more games tomorrow, 7 matches in total in 2 back-to-back weekends, either side of Christmas, of raw rivalry. And I love it. Really, really love it. I mean, for many people, Christmas, one of the traditions is maybe having one too many drinks and getting into an argument with a family member. Why not start that festive period by getting into a little bit of a scrap on a rugby pitch with one of your close rivals as well? Well, that's what we have got to look forward to. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. If you appreciate the content on the channel, if you've been watching at any point this year, can I say thank you very much for that. Enjoy the rugby this weekend. Check in for reaction and updates from the rugby that's been going on. I am looking to go to Edinburgh for the second one of the 1872 Cup matches, the oldest rivalry in world rugby between Glasgow and Edinburgh, the oldest derby clash in the sport. Quite something that, isn't it? National teammates become rivals and opponents for a day, and there are matchups absolutely everywhere. So it's one thing that they do in fact, they used to do it in New Zealand. They would have a match and it would be called possibles against probables. And it was basically the first choice New Zealand team would play in black, and the kind of the guys that were the second spot battling for that shirt would play in white, both in New Zealand kits, and they'd just go at it and it would be personal. Well, think about it like that. Well, for one thing, you've got Tuipulotu against Tuipulotu, the two brothers playing opposite each other in the 12 jersey for Edinburgh and Glasgow. Johnny Matthews, obviously he's probably scratching his head going, how come I can't get a look in for Scotland? He is going to be opposite the man who's starting Scotland number 2, Ewan Ashman. Gilchrist and Cummings, both in the engine room together for Scotland, are both opposite each other wearing 5. Jamie Ritchie, he might want to force his way into the starting Scotland team. Well, he's in a back row opposite Matt Fagerson. And, well, for Glasgow, Kyle Steyn is back. And I thought, as I mentioned on a previous video, I thought he was the best of Scotland's wingers before he got injured. And now he's seen Darcy Graham and Duhan van der Merwe doing their thing. He might feel he's got a point to prove and will want to get back in. So I cannot wait for this match later tonight. I won't spend too long on it because by the time you watch this, you might already have seen the game. So the way that this is played, the 1872 Cup, whilst it's 2 URC fixtures, it also doubles as the 1872 Cup, and the winner is whoever has the best aggregate score after the 2 games. So I'm hoping that it's a relatively close match, which means there's a lot on the line for the Edinburgh game next week when hopefully I'm going to be there. Glasgow by 8 is what I'm going for. I think this could be a really tight weekend of matches, actually. And Ulster versus Munster, that's the other Friday night game. Few Irish internationals missing for Ulster. No Ian Henderson, no Cormac Izachukwu, no Nick Timoney. That's a bit of a shame. I'm going to take this hat off. It's hot as much as anything, but I feel a bit of a prat. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll put it there. There you go. I'll keep it festive on the channel. There you go. Few Irish internationals missing for Ulster. Also for Munster, admittedly, no Peter O'Mahony, no Tadhg Beirne, no Conor Murray. Craig Casey's injury is a concern. But it is a full-bore backline, apart from those players that are injured, for Munster, apart from those players I've mentioned. And the same, even despite missing those 2 experienced players in the pack, it looks really good. Guys like Tom Ahern, I'm expecting. I thought he might have had a bigger 2024 than he's had. Maybe 2025 will be his year. He's in the engine room without Tadhg Beirne, and Gavin Coombs has been great in recent weeks. So without Peter O'Mahony in the back row, more emphasis on him. And Ulster missing a few. They don't quite seem to have the same level of quality as Munster in their backup players, although they are at home. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say Munster by 6. We'll see how much the Ravenhill factor could play into it there. Stormers against the Lions. The South African derby matches. There's 2 games for the Stormers at home. They play the Lions in this game, then they welcome the Sharks next weekend. A couple of massive games. Hoping it's a good turnout. The weather will be great. I've no doubt about that. And Frans Malherbe is back. In fact, it looks... I mean, there's forwards coming back into the Stormers lineup. Ben Jason Dixon is back. Brannus is back. Dion Ferree, absolute legend. Just his presence is going to lift everyone. But when you've got your Dweber and Murat and Schickerling in the pack as well, it starts to look a little bit meatier for the Stormers. Libok and Sasha together in the back line, 10 and 12. 2 playmakers in those positions. I mean, maybe that's the way when Damien Willemser is back as well. Libok 10, Sasha 12, Willemser 15. That'd be a frightening playmaking axis, wouldn't it? So the Lions, pretty much the names you'd expect to see in their team. 1 or 2 missing, but generally they haven't had the same injury problems that the Stormers have had. I'm going to say the Stormers again by 6. I think a lot of the games are going to be within a score. Partly the rivalry drags it down to a bit of a dogfight. Partly because the matchups this week are just really well matched. Sharks v the Bulls, the other South African derby match. There are a couple of Sharks, the Springbok Sharks not there. No Ebenet Sebeth, but you have got Oxenche and Vincent Koch in the front row. You have got Sia Khaleesi at number 8 once again. The Hendrickson brothers 9, 10. Esterhazen is at 12. Fassie's at 15. Mapimpi's on the wing. Esterhazen and Ethan Hooker, lovely little combination. Big, powerful, quick. The whole team looks good, and well, they're calling it Shark Fest in Durban. We'll see if it will be against the Bulls. I think they will win narrowly. In the Bulls team, Hanekom's been pushed to 6 and Elric Lowe to number 8. I think that's interesting. I was watching Hanekom play in the Champions Cup and thought he can play anywhere across that back row, can't he? And it's hard to, you sort of think, is he a Dwayne Vermeulen replacement as number 8 for the Boks? I'm sure he could do that job, ball carrying, but maybe not. But what really impressed me was his jackling at the breakdown. And he looks like he could be, and I did think he could be Sia Khaleesi's eventual replacement in the 6 jersey for the Boks. It's interesting he's wearing that shirt this weekend. It's going to be a big one to watch. Still no Ruan Nokia, still no David Creel, but Moody, Villy LaRue in the back 3. I'm just going for the Sharks over the Bulls in that one by 4 points, again within a score. Leinster against Connacht. Oh, apologies, Connacht, spelt. I should have had another N in there. Leinster have changed things up a lot. RG Snyman is starting, but, well, as we've heard about, the potential deal that's been struck where RG Snyman only gets to start if McCarthy or Ryan aren't playing, and neither of them are playing in this one. And most of Leinster's Irish internationals have been pulled from the front line in this game. So you've got Ross Byrne at 10, you've got Jimmy O'Brien at fullback. You've got RG Snyman in the front room. There's no Andrew Porter. There's no Tyke Furlong. There's no Josh van der Fleer. There's no Caelan Doris. They have sold 30,000 tickets for this match. I wonder if those Leinster fans are feeling a little bit disappointed by that. I mean, it's hard. They've just played Champions Cup games back to back. Those players have come off a gruelling autumn series, playing against some big Southern Hemisphere teams, so they need to rest at some point. It's just a shame with these big derby matches and big turnouts of the crowd that this is the time when they make the changes. Connacht, meanwhile, are going with Bundyaki, Mac Hansen, Finlay Beelum, full ball. I'm really looking forward to Jack Conan against Paul Boyle, the 2 number 8s for the teams. They are both big old ball carriers. That'll be an interesting one. I do think, having said, it's a shame the team that Leinster have picked, I still think they're going to win. I've gone for Leinster by 5. Next game, another derby, and the West Wales derby between Ospreys and Scarlets. Now, of course, Ospreys are a team that are made up of 2 separate Southwest Walian powerhouses, Neath and Swansea. And this rivalry is about 20 years old now, but the rivalry between Neath and Llanelli and Swansea and Llanelli, that goes back a lot further. So there is lots and lots of history in this fixture under the surface. Toby Booth has just left his role as head coach of Ospreys. We knew that he was going to be leaving at the end of the season, but he has now gone early. Has he got another job lined up? I hope for him he is. He's a brilliant coach and he's done a good job. But what impact will that have on Ospreys? That's going to be an interesting one. Jack Morgan up against Tame Plumtree's one matchup I'm looking out for. Tom Rogers opposite Keelan Giles as well is another. I think this is going to be another tight game. I'm going for Scarlets by 3. I'm really looking forward to these games. I've got them down as all being tight. I wonder how tight Benetton against Zebre will be. Benetton are at full strength. Got their Italian internationals in the lineup. Zebre, Well, the difficult thing for them is there's been a lot of talk swirling this week that they are going to shut up shop. They're going to close down at the end of this season. How do the players deal with that? Because there hasn't been anything said officially about this, but the players all know that that's the case. And if that has happened, because it's happened with Wasps and London Irish and Worcester in England, and when that happened in England, the players didn't get paid a day after they went into administration. It was just done. You don't get paid anymore. Off you go. You need to go and find another contract. How much is that weighing on the minds of players who've got mortgages and families and they want to plan for their future? And for a lot of them, the natural place that players from Zebre would go is to Benetton, the other Italian team. So this matchup, it's a strange one with all of that bubbling away in the background. These guys at Zebre will feel like they're maybe playing against Benetton to try and earn a contract at Benetton. And these Benetton guys are like, oh, maybe there's 30 odd guys that are going to be on the market now. They could be after my spot in the Benetton squad. I need to be at my best. So I think there's lots for the individuals to play for, but rugby is a team game and that team cohesiveness is massive. And for that reason, I think this is one of those games this weekend which could be a heavy win for Benetton. I've gone Benetton by 19. Oh, that was my last video. That's there you go, a little preview about the next video that is coming up on the channel. That was me getting everything ready for the next video that I'm going to do. That is the games this weekend in the URC. Your thoughts in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. Keep checking in on the channel over the weekend as well as I react to the games as they're happening. There's URC, there's Top 14, there's Premiership as well. The rugby keeps on going, and especially here on Egg Chasers.